Robert, we have a question from Mighty Fine Bar who says, thoughts on quartz watches? Would you buy one and which? So I kind of know what you're going to say because I'm similar. We have bought many quartz watches over the years and we're not snobbish toward quartz watches. But I will throw a caveat for myself. It can't just be a basic run-of-the-mill Ronda that has nothing real special about it that you can find in any watch. There needs to be some level of technology or sophistication or history involved because there are some underrated, beautiful quartz movements on the market that not a lot of people know about. So what are your thoughts to Mighty Fine Bar about quartz pieces?
Yeah, amazing question. First, yes, I would buy one. That's an
And you have.
And I have. And I own them. I'll riff a little bit on what you said about the Ronda. I'm actually even okay with some of the basic quality movements if they're priced accordingly.
That's a good point.
Don't give me, and this is a shout out to you guys in the micro brand space. There is a definite spot for you, but do not give me a VK, 64, whatever, Seiko chronograph movement for $800.
Yeah.
Don't give me that.
Yeah.
Price it accordingly, and I understand there is money involved in the design and stuff, but still, let's boil it down. We've got a basic quartz, chronograph. Fine, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
Price it accordingly.
So as long as it's priced right, you don't have a problem.
No, I'm even okay with the basic stuff.
Okay, cool.
The basic stuff. A quality, basic quartz watch, I can show you time and time again. Like, there's a guy at work who I work with. He has a Movado chronograph, a Swiss-made chronograph. That is quartz. It's got an ETA. I have no clue what caliber. I've changed the battery myself, and I'm telling you right now, he has worn that every day for about 13, 14 years, changed the oil, climbed a mountain, traveled the literal world with it.
Wearing that watch.
One watch.
I love it.
One watch. And it is not a diver style with a screw down crown. I mean, we're talking a chronograph, a regular chronograph that looks super nice, but nothing like screw down pushers or anything. Yeah. And it's worked flawlessly for him.
And it's been accurate.
And it's been accurate. So
well, and most people, they start with a quartz watch. They don't start with a nice, Valjoux movement or whatever the case may be. They start
Your dad just throws you down. I think, who was it? George Bamford, I think his first watch was like a Navitimer or something like that his parents gave him. So if you're that lucky, bravo to you.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm jealous because I would have loved for my dad to be like, oh, here you go, here's this Navitimer.
I think my first watch that I really remember was a Swiss Army watch.
Mine was a fossil. Mine was a fossil. It was quartz. It was chrome-plated brass. I remember because I found it years later, and it had like a bunch of the plating had come off on the underside. And I was like, what is this?
Do you still have it?
No. And it kills me. Even in its dilapidated state, nowadays I would have loved to have that.
Just for the nostalgia?
Just for the nostalgia. I thought I was the coolest person on the face of this earth. I mean, it had like a wave pattern in the dial, like a Seamaster and this and that.
Before you even knew what a Seamaster was.
Yes, before I even knew. I mean, I kind of knew from the Bond films, but again, I wasn't into like that level. But it was a basic fossil with a basic movement inside, and I wore it every day, and it worked fine.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I will not buy a chrome-plated brass case.
No.
But that's a whole nother subject.
Right.
So like back in the day, it was perfectly fine for me.
So I will tell you, I've, especially recently, when I buy a quartz piece, it has to have some cool tech. Like I've loved G-Shock. Their solar, radio wave control. You got all the different complications you want, timer and stopwatch and all that stuff. So I've gone that route, and I've gone hiking and camping and rafting, wearing a titanium square with that awesome, quartz movement. Or my wife, actually, she wore a Citizen Eco Drive for maybe 10 years, and it finally died because she went swimming with the crown open. And, I've had experience, but it's generally been something a little special about the movement.
Yes.
On the screen here is a Grand Seiko, the 9F86A movement. that I bought because it was beautifully displayed in a sapphire case back. And it has, gorgeous finishing and blued screws and a jeweled gear train and all of the tech and accuracy. Like, I can get excited about quartz.
I'm right there with you. I do think as you kind of progress in your collecting journey and your knowledge base, you do kind of have to try and find things that excite you.
That's a good point.
Or maybe justify, adding another quartz watch versus adding another mechanical watch. At least that's the way my mind works. So I'm right there with you. The 9F is an amazing watch. I shouldn't say recently, I think last year, picked up a Marathon that is the Navigator, the asymmetric style case in steel.
Oh, yeah.
And I picked that up because it has accuracy that rivals the Grand Seiko.
I love it.
It had an Air Force logo for my days in the Air Force. It's cheesy, and would I wear it every day? No, but I freaking love it. Sapphire crystal, steel case, screw down crown. It's plus or minus accurate, I think 5 seconds or 10 seconds a year. Nice. Thermocompensated, all these things. And you're in the hundreds of dollars. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So
another thing that just popped into my mind was the Rolex Oyster Quartz. I love the Oyster Quartz, and they did not make very many over the years of production. And what is cool is when people think about sport pieces from Rolex, and they think about the Sub, and they think about the Explorer, taken to Mount Everest. Little do a lot of people know that the Oyster Quartz was worn by kind of the Michael Jordan of alpine climbers when he went and summited Mount Everest without oxygen and without support. He was wearing a kind of dressy Oyster Quartz on the wrist doing that crazy activity. Like, there's some cool history with some quartz movements.
So you just brought up a point that I was going to make about quartz watches. Okay. So if you ever need to know if something's cool or desirable, go to Rolex. Okay?
Good point.
So they have the Oyster Quartz, and those are collectible.
Big time.
Big time. Yeah. There are people, we know people.
Yeah, John.
John, again, shout out to John. There are people that collect Oyster Quartz, and it is an amazing watch. And you, again, like the 9F,
you can service them and regulate them. They're not like throwaway quality.
Back in the day, you would buy an Oyster Quartz for as much or more than a Daytona.
Yeah.
Like that was a state-of-the-art watch. So you can't just throw it away as like, oh, it's quartz, it's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, Rolex collectors are a fickle bunch, and they like the Oyster Quartz.
Yeah. My next watch will be a solar-powered watch. I think I'm getting it for Christmas. It's the Seiko Solar Speed Timer.
Ooh.
With the Colonel Pogue color scheme.
Gorgeous.
Love this thing.
Gorgeous.
And it's a a solar-powered quartz, accurate, tough, anti-magnetic. I would not say that the majority of my collection is going to be quartz, but I'm not snobbish toward a good quartz. And so to Mighty Fine Bar, go for it. Find a good one,
dude,
and enjoy it.
Find a handful of them. Find one. Find whatever you want, but you got to have some space in the watch box for some quartz.
Agree.